Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this postmortem of my Blitz game number 746. We get to take a look at the Chigorin defense to the Queen's Gambit, a pretty interesting and counterattacking line. So let's check this out. I played d4, my opponent played d5. I went c4, and he went knight c6. And that is the key idea of the Chigorin defense. Blocking, I mean, it's a bit unusual, right? They generally teach you not to block your c-pawn when playing against, the d4 openings, because you want to play this move c5 at some point and try and undermine the center. But the idea with the Chigorin is to play with piece pressure. And then the two knight moves are both quite playable here, as well as just taking. I think taking is kind of an attempt to refute the Chigorin, and it doesn't work out. I think black does pretty well in these lines. So just to take a look at that, if I were to grab the pawn, queen takes, then you need to defend the d-pawn, and then e5. Yeah, I think e5 is one of the key ideas in the Chigorin. If you can remember this e5 move, then you'll probably be okay playing the Chigorin. White doesn't really want to take here and lose castling privileges with the exchange, and you're going to lose the pawn anyway. Black would have a great position. You continue developing with knight c3, and then the bishop comes out here with bishop b4. So that's one of the sample lines in the Chigorin that you should know if you're going to play it. Let's go back to the game. I just did one of the knight moves. I think these are the safer ways for white to play, and you can see that at least according to the statistics over here, white has a decent edge in these positions. So knight f3, bishop g4, and it's often an idea to trade the bishop for the knight. I actually was thinking that he was going to take that, but the way I played it is I played e3 right away, and then maybe there's no big advantage to trading at that point. But to show a line, for example, knight c3, bishop takes f3 is possible there, or you could continue with e6, and after this exchange, he could take on f3. Bishop takes f3 now. There's various times at which you could take and damage the pawn structure because white has not played the move e3 here. So, I played it in kind of a simple fashion with this early e3, but it's not bad, actually. I looked at this with a chess engine, and this is still okay. I'm out of the opening book, or in a slightly less common branch of the opening, but it still seems to be fine. And maybe it takes away some of the ideas that the Chigorin player is going for. In any case, we soon get to a position that I've never seen before, and probably both of us have never seen before. Let's see, he went knight f6 here, which is not immediately out of the opening book. Let's see, I played knight c3, and we transpose into some other line. He could take on c4, or he could play e6, and now I decided to take, and that really takes us out of the opening book. Queen a4 is an idea here, but well, this is okay. And white seems to have come out of this with an advantage. If we back up one move, the chess engine really preferred taking with the pawn here and keeping a pawn in the center, and I think that's probably better for black. So I came out of this with a pretty good position, and I keep it for a while, but there's a couple spots in here where things go wrong, or had the potential to go wrong. But let's go forward. There's some normal moves here. I get my pieces out. He brings pressure to bear on my knight. I defend it, and he plays f5. It's an interesting way to play. And I castle, he castles. So he's obviously an attacking player in the spirit of the Chigorin. But I think e5 was a more characteristic move. Actually, I meant to mention this. I think I raced past it. At this position here where he played knight f6, he had a chance to play e5 right here. Another kind of interesting idea. The move here, and this is the book line, queen to b3, unpinning the knight, and then he takes right away. So you're willing to suffer the pawn damage a lot of times, and it's just kind of an interesting position, and the sort of thing you can get into with the Chigorin. So yeah, he didn't go that way. He just developed with the knight, which is also okay. So let's go back to where we were. Knight c3, e6, takes. We're out of the book now. Bishop e2, bishop e5, queen c2, yeah, and f5. So he's going for an attacking idea in any case, probably pushing the f-pawn on to f4 to try and bust up my center and maybe create a weakness on e3. I just castle here. He castles, putting the rook behind the f-pawn. I go h3 to kick the bishop, and he just decides to reroute it. The bishop is heading for g6. I kick the other bishop, and he reroutes that bishop too. I was a little surprised that he kept the bishop because, as I said earlier, that in a lot of these lines, one of the ideas with the Chigorin is piece play, and in a lot of ways you get piece play is by giving up a bishop and activating your knights. But he's not going for that plan, and it seems to be okay, although it seems that white has the opening advantage up to this point. Let's see, b4 was criticized by the engine as not the best move here. Oh yeah, there's actually a little tactic here, and that's why that's not the best move. So, well, if you want to check, see if you can spot the tactical idea here. Okay, yeah, you might have seen the answer given away over on the side of the screen. I'm going to give it away anyway. You take the knight, and he has to take back with the pawn, and then queen to b3 is a double attack. You're hitting two undefended pawns, and let's see, you can drop the bishop back to protect. If you bring the queen here, he can't even chase you immediately because his knight is hanging, so you have time for the queen to escape from b7 there after grabbing a pawn. So anyway, missed that chance. Played b4, still keeping some kind of edge. He goes bishop g6, and now he's threatening to push this pawn forward with a tempo on the queen, so I decide to block that with the bishop, and now he took on c3 and played queen to f6. So setting up for that king side attack. I go bishop b2. I'm setting up for a counter attack. If he hadn't played queen to f6, this would have been even more powerful because I would have been threatening to push this pawn forward and threatening mate simultaneously. So this queen f6, although it's an attacking move, was also meeting my threat. So a pretty nice move. And my opponent defended well here as I tried to get attacking things going. Let's see, he went knight e7, routing his knight over to the king side. And I went queen d2, thinking that maybe I get a tempo on his queen at least by pushing the pawn. Let's see, but he goes knight d5. Yeah, he's just rerouting his knight to blockade things. And this was a difficult position for me to make progress from. Let's see. Well, I started with rook fe1. I was going to try and push the e-pawn. That was my idea here. And it's just not really working. The chess engine prefers at this point to push on with b5. Maybe get this kind of exchange and just live with this pawn structure. Maybe go back to the original plan I talked about of pushing the a-pawn forward and playing bishop to a3 to get the dark squared bishop activated on this diagonal. And there's still a slight edge for white in these positions. e4 seems to give away my advantage. And in fact, I think there's a tactic coming up. Oh, no, not right away. But yeah, this is all okay for black now. Bishop takes, rook takes, and knight to f4. Yeah, the chess engine actually thinks black is better after knight f4, and you can see why. Knight is putting pressure here. He's now got attacking ideas. My bishop is still behind the d-pawn. I would probably have to sacrifice. So that was why that pushing this e-pawn forward was kind of an untimely move. I was trying to open things up and maybe chase that annoying knight away, but when you push that e-pawn forward, it gives up the f4 square. And so that's the big problem here. The e-pawn was controlling the f4 square. Now the knight can hop into f4 with a pretty good effect. Fortunately for me, he didn't play that. Let's see, he went rook a e8. I went rook a e1. And he went h6. Once again, knight f4 is a very good move here. And actually, yeah, after knight f4, we're back to even again. So for a while there, black had the advantage, but he didn't cash in. And after knight e5, we're back to even, or maybe a slight edge for white again. Let's see, he played rook e7. He still got his attacking ideas. I went bishop c1. I was aware of the danger of the f4 square by now, and I wanted to try and control that, and I wanted also to liberate my queen to move around. So he went rook f e8. I went queen d3. Cancel that. Queen d3, trying to bring my queen over to the king side. along the third rank. He went rook to f8. So I didn't realize that. He actually just shuffled the rooks back and forth. So yeah, I guess was having a little trouble finding a plan, but he eventually hit on the idea of piling up on the f-pawn. I guess because I played queen d3, I was no longer defending the f-pawn for a moment, and he saw his chance to pile on. So he played king h7, which, that helps deal with, there may be threats against the h-pawn with the pin on the g-pawn. I get rook g4, piling up on the g-file, and queen f5. So it looks like I'm getting some pressure here, but black is very well positioned and has counter pressure. So, going by the chess engine evaluation, there was never really a win here in this attack. But it's, it's what you do when you're attacking. You try and poke and prod and look for ways to break through, and also hope your opponent makes a mistake trying to defend against various threats. Let's see. I went queen h4 here, and he went rook f6, and rook f6 was just such a mistake. So if you want to pause the video here, why don't you see if you can spot the tactic that I missed in the game. Okay, I'm going to play the move now. The answer is bishop to g4. Yeah, g5 rather. I can just skewer those rooks and win one of them, or win the exchange. This pawn is pinned, and the queen can't take the bishop because it's defended by the rook. So that's just winning material there. Nice little tactic, taking advantage of the pins and control of the g5 square. Let's see. Yeah, we were also starting to get low on time at this point. We'd been looking hard for moves to play, and I had kind of the feeling there must be something there, but I couldn't find it. Anyway, I dropped my queen back. Let's see. He went rook e to f7. So he's got three pieces lined up on f2, so I defend it. He goes queen to b1, hitting my bishop. I go rook to e1. I was thinking he might even just repeat moves here, but he went for rook takes f2. And so there's one more tactic here. The move I played here is not the best move. So if you want to spot the best move for white, okay, pause the video if you want some time to think about it. I'm going to give the answer away now. The answer is rook takes g7 check. And, well, the king can't take it. And if the king moves, I will probably checkmate him if the king moves, won't I? So he has to take. And then I take this one. So I get the pawn. He won a pawn. I won a pawn. And it was just a trade of rooks. And everything is still even. After queen takes f2, he gave up 2 rooks for a queen and a pawn. From a material point of view, that's about even, but actually the chess engine prefers black here, and the queen is pretty active in this position. My king's a bit exposed. So I have to agree with the chess engine. Black is just better here, but, well, he still has to find a way to break through, and we are both short on time at this point. Let's see. He played bishop takes e5, hoping I would take with the rook, I guess, and he could grab the bishop in the time pressure, but I noticed that the rook was needed to defend the bishop. Then he went queen c2 check, and hit away. He went queen c3, played rook ge4. He was hitting my rook, he was hitting my bishop. That's why, queens are dangerous on the open boards. Even if the 2 rooks are theoretically equal to or better than a queen, the queen can really hit a lot of things simultaneously, and you have to find the correct moves to really defend everything, but that holds things together for the moment. c5, he took with check, hid in the corner, and let's see, he went b5, I went rook 4 e2, just kind of consolidating a little bit, and he was looking for his next move and ran out of time. So anyway, interesting game. Black is really better in this position. It's not clear if it's a winning advantage, but the evaluation is 1 to 2 points in favor of black according to the chess engine. So maybe there is a win for black here. Just takes time to find, and I defended well enough to cause him to lose on time. Anyway, interesting game. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you again soon.